the Tortoise's daughter. In a realm of ancient forests and winding rivers, where the sun cast golden rays over sprawling savannas, there ruled a king whose power was unmatched, his authority extending even to the wild beasts that roamed his lands. The air was thick with the scent of earth and blooming acacias, and the palace, built of sun-baked stone and adorned with intricate carvings of lions and serpents, stood as a testament to his dominion. This king, whose voice could silence a crowd or summon a storm, held sway over creatures both tame and fierce, yet none was deemed wiser than the tortoise, a creature slow of step, but profound in thought, revered by all as the sage of beasts and men. The king had a son, Prince Ekpenion, a youth of striking visage, with eyes that gleamed like polished obsidian, his bearing proud yet restless. To secure his lineage, the king bestowed upon him 50 young women as wives, each chosen for her grace and beauty, their laughter filling the palace courtyards like the chime of bells. But Ekpenion's heart remained untouched, his gaze passing over them with indifference. "They are fair," he admitted to his closest confidant, a grizzled warrior, as they stood beneath the shade of a baobab tree. "But none stir my soul." The king, hearing of his son's discontent, felt his temper flare, his face darkening like a storm cloud. In a fit of wrath, he proclaimed a fearsome law under the sacred Egbo oath. If any man had a daughter finer than the prince's wives, and she found favor in Ekpenion's eyes, that girl, her father and her mother, would face death. The decree echoed through the kingdom, chilling the hearts of all who heard it, for none dared defy the king's will. Far from the palace, in a humble dwelling of mud and thatch nestled near a grove of palm trees, lived the tortoise and his wife. Their home was modest, its walls adorned with woven mats, the air scented with drying herbs. They had recently welcomed a daughter, Adette, whose beauty was a marvel even in infancy. Her skin glowed like polished ebony, her eyes sparkled with the clarity of a forest stream, and her laughter was a melody that drew birds to perch on the fence encircling their home. The tortoise's wife, her brow furrowed with worry, sat one evening by the fire, her hands twisting a length of rope. "Husband," she said, her voice low and urgent, "our daughter is too fair. If the prince should see her, his heart might turn, and the king's law will bring death upon us all. We must hide her, or worse, cast her into the bush to perish." The tortoise, his shell gleaming dully in the firelight, paused in his slow pacing. "Kill our own child?" he replied, his voice steady but heavy with sorrow. "No, my love, her beauty is a gift, not a curse. We will protect her, keep her hidden until the danger passes." Though his wife protested, fearing the king's wrath, the tortoise's wisdom prevailed. For 3 years, they concealed Adette, teaching her to stay within the shadowed corners of their home, her laughter muffled, her beauty veiled from prying eyes. One bright morning, when the tortoise and his wife were tending their yam fields, the air alive with the hum of insects and the scent of turned earth, Prince Ekpenion rode out to hunt. His bow slung across his back, he moved through the forest with the grace of a leopard, his servants trailing behind. Near the tortoise's home, he spotted a brightly plumed bird, perched atop the woven fence, its feathers a riot of red and gold. It was watching something within, its head cocked in rapt attention. The prince, intrigued, nocked an arrow and let it fly, striking the bird, which fell inside the fence. "Fetch it," he commanded a servant, his voice sharp with curiosity. The servant, a lanky youth with quick eyes, climbed over the fence and searched the undergrowth. There, in the shade of a mango tree, he found not only the bird, but also little Adette, playing with a small wooden doll, her beauty so striking, it stole his breath. Her laughter rang out, clear and pure, and her eyes met his, with an innocent curiosity. Stunned, he returned to the prince, forgetting the bird. "Master," he stammered, "there is a girl within, a child of such beauty I have never seen the like. She is like the moon among stars." Ekpenion, his interest piqued, dismounted and broke through the fence himself, the wood splintering under his strength. There stood Adette, her small form radiant in the dappled sunlight, her dark hair cascading like a river over her shoulders. The prince's heart, so long unmoved, stirred instantly. "Who are you, child?" he asked, his voice soft, almost reverent. "I am Adette, daughter of the Tortoise," she replied, her voice a gentle melody, her eyes wide but unafraid. He sat with her beneath the mango tree, the air sweet with fruit and earth, and they talked for hours, of the forest, the stars, the tales of old. Her words were simple yet wise, her laughter infectious, and Ekpenyon knew he had found what his heart sought. "Will you be my wife when you are grown?" he asked, his hand brushing hers. Adette, though young, smiled shyly. "If my father allows, and the years bring us together, I will," she said. The prince returned to the palace, his heart alight, but he kept his love secret from his father, knowing the danger of the king's law. The next morning, he summoned the royal treasurer, his voice firm. "Gather 60 pieces of fine cloth and 300 rods," he ordered, "and deliver them to the tortoise as a bride price." That afternoon, he rode back to the tortoise's home, finding the old creature tending a patch of yams. "Tortoise," he said, kneeling in respect, "I wish to marry your daughter Adette when she comes of age. I love her with all my heart." The tortoise's eyes, small and knowing, widened in fear. "Prince," he said, his voice slow and deliberate, "you know the king's law. If he learns of this, my wife, my daughter and I will all be killed. Your love is a danger to us." Ekpenyon's face hardened with resolve. "I would die before I let harm come to you or your family," he said. "I will protect Adette with my life. Will you consent?" The tortoise hesitated, his shell shifting as he thought. "She is but a child," he said, "not yet ready for marriage. But if you swear to keep her safe, I will agree when the time comes." After much discussion the tortoise relented, his heart heavy but swayed by the prince's sincerity. Ekpenyon returned to the palace, and confided in his mother the queen, whose chambers were adorned with woven tapestries, and the scent of jasmine. "Mother," he said, his voice urgent, "I have found the one I love, Adette, the tortoise's daughter. I will marry her when she is grown." The queen's face paled, her hands clutching her robe. "My son," she whispered, "your father's law will be your death. He will not forgive such defiance." Yet, seeing the fire in his eyes, she could not deny his heart. Determined to secure Adette for her son, she visited the tortoise's home, bringing a basket of coins, fine clothes, yams, and jars of palm oil. "Take these," she said to the tortoise's wife, her voice firm yet kind. "Ensure your daughter is promised to no other." For 5 years, Ekpenyon visited Adette often, their bond growing under the shade of the mango tree. They spoke of dreams, of the kingdom's future, of the songs of the forest. As Adette neared the age to enter the fatting house, accustomed to prepare young women for marriage, the prince could wait no longer. He strode into the king's hall, where the air was heavy with the scent of incense and the weight of authority, and declared, "Father, I will take Adette, the tortoise's daughter, as my wife." The king's face darkened, his voice a low growl. "You defy my law?" he roared, his scepter slamming against the stone floor. "You risk death for this girl?" He summoned his court, proclaiming that all should gather in the marketplace on a set day to hear the palaver. When the day arrived, the marketplace buzzed with a throng of people, their colorful robes a sea of movement under the midday sun. The king and queen sat upon their carved stone seats, the crowd standing to greet them with chants and raised hands. The king's voice boomed, silencing the murmurs. "Bring the girl Adette before me," he commanded. Adette was led forward, her beauty radiant even in a simple cloth dress, her eyes steady despite the weight of the moment. The king, expecting defiance, was struck silent by her loveliness, her presence like a star in the daylight. "My people," he said at last, his voice softer, "I called you here to condemn my son's disobedience. He has chosen this girl, Adette, without my consent, defying my law. Yet, seeing her now, I cannot deny her beauty surpasses even that of his other wives. She is a fitting choice." The crowd, murmuring in awe, nodded in agreement. "She is worthy," called an elder, his voice carrying over the din. "Spare the prince and repeal the law." Others joined in, their voices rising in a chorus of support. The king, moved by Odette's beauty and the people's plea, relented. "I will forgive my son," he declared. He summoned 8 Egbos, the enforcers of sacred law, their masks adorned with feathers and shells. "The law is cancelled," he told them, handing over pots of palm wine and bags of coins. "No man, woman, or child shall die for a daughter's beauty henceforth." He then proclaimed, "Odette, daughter of the Tortoise, shall marry my son this day." The marriage was celebrated with a feast that lasted 50 days, the air filled with the aroma of roasted yams and palm oil stew. The king slaughtered 5 cows, and pots of fufu and palm wine lined the streets, free for all to enjoy. Women danced in the king's compound, their songs weaving tales of love and triumph, while the prince and his companions played drums and flutes in the market square, their music echoing through the night. The king, in his generosity, gave half his kingdom to the Tortoise to rule, along with 300 slaves to tend his fields. Ekpenion added 200 women and 100 girls to serve the Tortoise's household, making him one of the richest men in the land. The prince and Odette lived happily, their love enduring through the years. When the king died, Ekpenion ascended the throne, ruling justly with Odette by his side, and thus, the tale proves that the Tortoise, with his wisdom and cunning, remains the wisest of all men and beasts.